We are here today to announce that the Justice Department has secured felony guilty pleas from the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, Binance.
Actually, it's Binance.
Binance.
Binance. Largest virtual.
Binance.
Binance. And let me be clear. It's Binance.
Binance.
Binance. Council has discussed crypto regulations and legislations at length, and we have come to the conclusion that instead of regulating, we are going to ape a fat bag each into laptop and pump it to over $1 billion, 300 million, trillion market cap. Let's fucking go, crackheads.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Crypto Morning Coffee. I got my coffee locked and loaded, ready to go, because we have to talk about Bitcoin. This breakout that we are seeing right now, there is a lot to it. I think it's only the beginning, for reasons that we have discussed many times on this channel. But I want to show you once again what's going to happen in the next couple of days and weeks, and what is to be expected in the immediate short term, because there could be a smaller correction or corrective move coming in for Bitcoin before we continue this massive move that is also going to drag up all the altcoins with it. And we are also going to talk about Ecomi and Veve, because there are news. There is something good coming at this project as well, so make sure to stay all the way through. So, good morning to each and every one of you. I hope you're doing well. I hope your portfolios feel good again after this very long and exhaustive time without any price movements. But now Bitcoin is at 93,400, sitting very nicely there. And let's talk about what's going on, because there are some things that are really bullish for Bitcoin. But before we do that, make sure to smash up the like button here, subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments below also, if you watch this after this, what you think about this move. Is this only the complacency area, or is Bitcoin really headed to a new all-time high based on the facts that I'm giving you? And let's see, Crazy Dan here, good morning to you in the chat. Altcoin season started 2 days ago on 420. That's crazy. But if that was the case, that would be absolutely crazy. Although Bitcoin dominance doesn't really say it yet, I think Bitcoin still has to make its move first before the altcoin season kicks in. But let's look at Bitcoin here, and really it's very rare that we are on the 1 hourly, but I just wanted to show you that Bitcoin really did a nice breakout here. So it broke out, it retested this level that it broke off, then a new high here, and then an explosion, right? What's next? Probably a corrective move down to 91,000, and the reason being is the CME gap, because many people, they once it pumps, they start looking for it, but here is a big gap open between 93,400, and then the lower side to close it is really 91,780. So we could expect a small coming back to those prices before we are continuing the rally. But it's relatively clear that we're going to continue the rally, as we will see. And probably you think I'm sounding like a broken record, but I want to point one thing out. We have been let me quickly do this. We have been telling this, that this what's happening right now, that this is going to happen. We have been saying this for a long time on this channel, right? And if you're subscribed, you have seen it as well. We've talked about the setup of this mega inverse head and shoulders, the breakout, the bounce confirmation, the continuation to the upside, the wish for more volume that is still here. But we have talked about this, and we have talked about the reasons why this is going to happen, why there is continuation. And we have talked about it based on global liquidity, based on gold, based on the DXY, based on the indicators that we are seeing here, based on the setup. So it was all there, and now it's happening, right? So here is the monthly, and look what we are doing. We've talked that we're only going to call the bear market if the TSI crosses, and the TSI did not cross, and now we are going back to the upside, and very likely we are going to head up here again for the TSI, implying that we're actually not at the end of this move here, right? So all things are aligning, and just to show this to you once more, we have this inverse head and shoulders set up. And by the way, let's get rid of some lines here, but we have this inverse head and shoulders set up. Nothing has changed. We are looking at it since a long time. And this is basically the outside view. Yeah. So this inverse head and shoulders, and then the bounce plus continuation. The continuation is only complete once the all-time high, or at least this monthly candle close below the all-time high, the 100K mark, 101K is taken out, right? So then we will probably going to go to the moon, wherever that is, right? It might be at 140K, it might be at 180K, it might be at 210K. I don't know that, right? No one knows how far this can go, but things are lining up. Let's look quickly at what's going on superficially in the market. Sharper regulatory scrutiny of Chinese firms, fans delisting fears. Bessent says he expects de-escalation in US-China tariff fight in the very near future. I think this is the big one. I don't know why this is up here, but this is the big one. Bessent expects de-escalation in the trade war. So busiest US ports for Chinese freight see steep drop in container vessel traffic. Of course, that there is some damage to the economy, right? Also, that is very important. Tesla reports 20% drop in auto revenue as first quarter results miss Wall Street estimates. Also that, of course, the earnings of the companies in the next couple of weeks will shape also what's going on, right? So we will see, but the global sentiment improves, and one reason for that is this here. Listen to this from the White House.
You have Secretary Bessent, Secretary Lutnick, Ambassador Greer, NEC Director Hassett, and Peter Navarro, the entire trade team, meeting with 34 countries this week alone. We are moving at Trump speed to ensure these deals are made on behalf of the American worker and the American people. You have Secretary Bessent.
Okay, so that's basically already it, this short snippet here, but what we are seeing is 34 countries are meeting with basically the US government to negotiate the trade deals, right? So 34 countries may already in the next weeks get their stuff out of the way. Tariffs not the story anymore. Which countries we will see, but let's see until it really happens. But I think these things, like what Bessent said, but also this is improving the sentiment, right? Then also this one here might be a bigger one. Coinbase has announced it may pursue a federal bank charter in the US, enabling it to provide services like deposit and lending, which is good, right? Because if all these things like lending, like if a traditional crypto moves into the bank space, it's probably better for crypto adoption than if the banks adopt crypto in the speed that they do, right? And Coinbase is really the set player here. By the way, let's see here. Anchor says, love from India, love back to India. Good to see you, my man. And let's see another one here for like how the markets are looking at crypto at the moment. So listen to this as well.
Welcome back. Not a lot of green on the screen today, as you know. However, you probably didn't look at Bitcoin. Tanae McKeel did, and she's here. It's up 3%. What do you make of the way that this has been trading? It's decoupled, obviously, from the NASDAQ, which was a trend for...
it has decoupled obviously from the Nasdaq. That directly on the standard stock market news, right?
For a while, how do you see it?
Something that people were looking for all month, because if you go back to earlier this month, it really was trading in line with stocks. It just was not seeing the big, pops and drops that one we're used to seeing out of Bitcoin, and two, it is outperforming the S&P. It has not really caught up with gold, the leading safe haven. But I think you are seeing evidence, not just. I think that the obvious and easy narrative would be that we're talking about Fed independence today, so Bitcoin is kind of acting as that hedge against, political uncertainty. But I also think that it's not just enthusiasm; it's also exhaustion. You're seeing people, investors, wanting to, get back into risk, but just maybe not the type of risk that's tied to earnings or Fed policy.
You got a quick thought?
I do. Look, you've got a president who's very interested, and his family's very interested in Bitcoin doing well, and crypto doing well, and I think you're close to regulation or some positive announcements on policy, and that's what's driving it.
It's evidence, Bitcoin's supportive nature is evidence that we have not had a deleveraging event. Because you have a deleveraging event, everything's going down.
Well, it has underperformed the S&P and NASDAQ overall since the peak. Recently, though, to your point, it is trading pretty well, up from 82 just a week and a half or 2 weeks ago.
Real quick, last.
Yeah, this was, it's trading well, 82. Look at it now, it's 10,000 up more. It's at 93,000. And it's in general, I think there's so many factors why people are looking at Bitcoin, right? One has been already mentioned here. It's a hedge against uncertainty, but also people really fear hidden inflation right now. The inflation numbers are at 2.x, 2 point something, but real inflation over the time is probably more than 8%, right? So you need something that is outperforming, and there are not many assets that are consistently over a long period of time outperforming 8% to deliver real growth. But because if you only get 8% each year, you're just maintaining your purchasing power. If you don't, you lose against anyone else. So you need something with an annual growth rate of 8% or more to stay in the game of life for all assets, right? So you need something that is moving like S&P 500, Nasdaq. These are outperforming. Plus Bitcoin, right? And Bitcoin is outperforming those two. So people are looking to get in that game, but they are not used to it. So every crash or sideways movement makes them so insecure that many of those hands are getting shaken out, at least for the first time. But if they see it rallying back right now, they might get into the game again. So, and this is exactly the point that we are having at the moment. Yeah. So I think that's really the big point here that many are missing. Amen, brother, amen. Yeah, exactly. So, but I think it all comes down to this, and this is why I say probably people come to the streams like, oh my God, this guy again with his global M2. But haven't we predicted the moves right? Haven't we said, oh, more pain ahead when global M2 did a sharp drop? And haven't we said, hey, it's bottoming now and it's exhausting and it takes some time, but now it's coming back? Well, it's all based on global M2. But here's why the move is going to be so much higher. Right now we are already at the 93, so we are more or less here, right? And there's our drop that might also fill the CME gap. It's that exact, right? So you see this massive spike to the upside, and basically if you overlay this in this scale, we might already have it guaranteed to go to 170,000 if you would just go according to this, right? But with sharp drops in it, right? With big drops in it around all-time high, but look at this massive move that could be coming. I mean, global M2 is just going crazy. It's just going so crazy, and Bitcoin just woke up to it, where gold already got the memo, right? Gold is already on the tear. Here it is again, right? I mean, gold has a small corrective move here, and Bitcoin is just trying to follow that as well. Yeah. So where are we? I think we are going to have at least a couple of weeks, maybe months in front of us to follow this M2. And the question is how hard the M2 will expand, because the US is still in a low quantitative tightening phase where they are not offloading balance sheets as much anymore. They will probably going to stop with that as markets are still crumbling, and maybe in the traditional markets and stock market there might be also more pain ahead. That doesn't mean that Bitcoin has to go down again, but that could cause short-term corrections here on the way. I think we're in for a treat here, in my opinion. Yeah, Fat and Bankrupt. That's a nice name, Fat and Bankrupt. I mean, I hope the name is never programmed for you, but it's for sure one of the funniest names I've seen so far. Nasdaq will crumble to the Texas Stock Exchange. No need to have okay, I'm not going to read this out here fully, because you know of the rules and so on. We don't do stupid rules. Okay, I got you. But the Nasdaq, I think I got what you mean, and it is for sure something funny. But the point is, Nasdaq crumbling, Texas Stock Exchange crumbling, whatever, right? Everything crumbles against Bitcoin. If you measure traditional stocks, gold, I don't know, bread, cars, houses. If you measure it against Bitcoin, it's going to zero or it's going lower, right? As everything should be. So if you measure real estate against Bitcoin, it actually gets cheaper over time. Meaning the asset that you need to be in is Bitcoin, right? So it doesn't really matter if the Texas Stock Exchange outperforms the Nasdaq. There is a funny story to that, why this is happening, why companies are moving there, and I tend to agree with what you're saying. But both of those will go down against Bitcoin. So the real deal will be who and in which way is going to adopt Bitcoin next. We have strategy, we have Metaplanet, we have didn't we have a state in the US that kind of decided to adopt it? I don't know, right? But anyway, guys, make sure to smash up the like button. We have 16 people here. I really appreciate it, or between 16 and 20, I don't know. Let's see here. Fat and Bankrupt says most banks in the US and around the world are buying XRP currently, as well as governments. So what will happen with Bitcoin? Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, Bitcoin is, XRP may be something that is interesting to the banks, but Bitcoin in the long term is going to be interesting to each and every company. We already see it. You saw it with the German telecom going into Bitcoin. We see it with states and state parts in other countries, for example, in the BRICS, going into Bitcoin mining. So that there is reason to believe that Bitcoin, as they also said in the last video here, that Bitcoin is going to be that second safe haven to gold, like an approach to diversify more in the strategy. And if everyone goes with that, that doesn't exclude XRP doing well, right? But I think Bitcoin is going to be the leader and stays the leader. And all the talks of a flippening or so, or everything, I'm not saying that you said that because you didn't, but we had the talks of flippening. For example, Ethereum is going to flip Bitcoin. It did not happen, right? Or Solana is going to flip Bitcoin. It also did not happen, right? It's just once these are coming up, people take profit, put it back into Bitcoin. XRP transfers are also faster. Yeah, I mean that's an argument where you can find 100 blockchains that have extremely fast transactions per second, but it really comes down to the adoption, right? The adoption in the back end, and then also, if I'm recalling it right, XRP is inflationary, right? Or at least slightly inflationary, but doesn't matter. Or at least they're selling consistently into the market. XRP went above Bitcoin in South Korea. Yeah, but that's, you see that this is not like, that might be at one specific exchange. I'm trying to figure out how XRP is going to go beyond in South Korea, but nowhere else, right? That doesn't make sense. But even if probably it's on one exchange due to whatever, like liquidity gap or something like that. But it's not, in my opinion, it's not about Bitcoin versus XRP. In my opinion, there's not even a discussion about Bitcoin versus everything else. But everything else is going to do well if Bitcoin does well. Bitcoin is just that leader that everyone is looking at and that everyone is discussing about at the moment. And because the maybe we can pull that up later, but here, look at Bitcoin dominance. I mean, Bitcoin is dominating everything like crazy, right? It's up 64%. Everything collectively is losing against Bitcoin since 2022, when before Bitcoin came crashing down against everything, right? So that we can look at XRP as well. I have no problem with that. Let's see here. Let's grab an old chart. XRP. And by the way, we did cover XRP. We did even cover XRP on this channel quite a bit with regards to the breakout before it even happened. Like, I mean, we said it in a little bit like not even believing tone here, but we covered the possibility of a massive breakout from this symmetrical, right? Let's see, can we do XRP? How do you do against? Is it the slash BTC or XRP BTC? XRP against Bitcoin. Okay, so here, this is XRP against Bitcoin, which is here, right? So even XRP, which is doing really well, is going down against Bitcoin, right? I mean, this is not the greatest chart history. Maybe we can find something else here. Bitfinex, there you go, right? So you basically, if you are in XRP versus in Bitcoin, you're losing since ever, yeah, because this is a downtrend. I'm not saying it can't go and outperform in the short term. For example, here it's outperforming in the short term, but overall, if you're a long-term XRP hodler, it would have been better to hold that all in Bitcoin. Yeah. You can make that for, and this is mostly the reality in the long term for every altcoin in the long term. So altcoins are really, in my opinion, altcoins are vehicles to get more hard multiples in the short term, sell and go into Bitcoin at some point. Yeah. Fat and Bankrupt says it's dominating because it was first. I have it too, but it really doesn't do much. It's just high because people think it has value, but future doesn't look well based off actions of over 10 US banks and the EU bank. It doesn't matter what banks do or not do, because Bitcoin doesn't rely on that, whereas XRP relies on that. All other altcoins rely on the adoption of certain industries. Yeah, for example, VeChain, which I also like, relies on the actions of certain industries to adopt this coin, to then use the gas token to make more people create TVL, total value locked, in the protocol, to make the protocol more attractive to investors for the price to go up. For Bitcoin, it's just everyone already agrees, including nation states, that Bitcoin is a good investment. It's a commodity. Regulation is already there, and collectively some countries already agree that this is the hedge against many problems in the world. So I think it's not really a discussion about how good Bitcoin is. It's just a question on which altcoins will do well and survive the long term and which will not, right? So XRP is here for the long term already, and it doesn't do badly. But Bitcoin is here longer, and it does better, as we see in this chart. It outperforms. Not saying that it can't, that XRP can't outperform Bitcoin in this bull run once again. It can. And it's a good vehicle to go in bear market and go out on the top. The only question is whether this is going to go for 10. Are you comfortable being in XRP for the next 10, 15 years? I am not, so I'm not going to do that. And I'm going to even put myself out here with my face and say, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to bet on Bitcoin long term and on certain altcoins short term, where I think they can do great multiples. But that's basically what I think. But thanks for the discussion, Fat and Bankrupt. Really appreciate it. Word I hear from certain people. I have a family member in the White House. So many people with inside info. So where's Rooster, by the way? Where is Rooster, by the way, when we need him? I have a family member in the White House that Bitcoin was used on dark web in past is going to be the reason the government will invest multiple, but XRP is main. We will see. I mean, Bitcoin being used on dark web is the same argument that I can make for fiat money and gold, right? So fiat money is being used to buy everything in the world, right? So including all illegal shit. It's really, I think this is not an argument on the long run. It's just propaganda. Green Lantern, GM Hodlers, GMPH, last day of vacation, making coffee now. Thanks for your work. Thank you very much. By the way, smash the like up button, guys. Subscribe if you haven't yet, if you enjoy this channel. Hey, Diviner Singh, good morning from the UK. Awesomeness, you are awesome. Thank you very much. Smash up that like button. Exactly. Let's bring it on and let's go back to stuff that is really important. As I said before, altcoin this, that doesn't matter really much at the moment. The only thing that matters is where is the broader market going, and that looks really good. So here, this one from Royal Pal is really interesting, right? Everyone needs and wants a weaker dollar to service their dollar debts. No one wants it to move too fast. It blows up VAR, but they need it lower over the next 12 months. This is the purest form of global liquidity, and it is the largest driver of global M2 currently. The US knows this too and is a key part of trade negotiations, especially with China. So we covered this a couple of months ago. We said strong dollar, bad for everyone who is indebted in dollar, right? So big negotiation position for the US, then bam. Now negotiations, dollars dropping, right? So basically that is very, very important here as well. And by the way, we had another one. Oh, there we go. Here's again, like this patient hodler always with his global liquidity, but we talked so much in this bottoming zone about the global M2 influencing everything to go up. Here is your go up, right? This is the if and this is, in my opinion, this is it. This looks exactly like the last part of this bottom. So basically only right now the bottom is in with the 90 something thousand that we have right now. Now the good part is coming with 1, 2, 3 bigger dips, right? So please keep that in mind. We are going to go very likely to 140,000 next. I think it's only a matter of time. And this will drag all altcoins up. We are already seeing it. I think VeChain is up like 20-30% already. So really, really good to see. And we have such a high Bitcoin dominance. So the question is, when is the big money being allocated in the market, right? And therefore, for that, we are looking at, look at this, at how beautiful is this? At USDT dominance, right? USDT dominance. So US dollar dominance, and we see US dollars dominance came up higher than we thought it would, but it formed a lower high, which is amazing, right? Now we are coming back down, and probably this alone just going to this trend line or to this support will put Bitcoin at all-time high probably. But look at this. We already said like there's some inverse, some head and shoulders here, right? I thought this would break, it didn't. But here, if it breaks, it's just going to be insane, right? Insane amounts of USDT that have been piled up would flow into the market if we don't bounce here. If we are going really to lose the support, we are going to see really, really amazing things here, right? So just to let you know, this is the money flow. We just came off of a local high, and the trajectory is that over 1% of the entire USDT is going to flow into the market just to get here. 1% means 1% of the crypto market cap. Okay? So if you have $1 trillion, you calculate 1%, that's what's going to flow very likely mostly into Bitcoin, some into altcoins in the next couple of days and weeks to come. Yeah. Fed and Bankrupt asks, what is your opinion on Shiba coin? I only brought it because I only bought it probably because it was like $100 for 10 million shares. Don't expect anything, but it's there. Maybe I'll grab 30 more million just in case. I mean, it's a meme, and memes do well in raging bull markets, but it would be, in my opinion, for a very short term. And this is something that I always say right now. If you're getting into a position right now, be prepared to take profits until the end of the year. Because this bull run, it's going to be strong, it's going to be hard, it's going to have some really violent dips, but it also is not going to last forever, right? So I think we all need to be prepared to take profits until the end of the year. Maybe into the beginning of next year, who knows? But who really knows, right? But we don't want to catch the top. We will not be able to. We want to go and take profit when things are looking great. Instead of taking only screenshots, we want to take profit. But we are not there yet. GM from sunny Saudi Arabia, says Domvu, holding it patiently until late summer, early autumn. And I don't know if that's tea or if that's the lamp of the genie of Aladdin. I don't know. But yeah. So there is a bet right now, right? This is a bet on the massive move here for Bitcoin and all altcoins, as USDT is implying. So let's see here again. So really, let it sink in, because I think this is what we are in for. And please also consider how long this took, right? This is months. So this is going to be months, right? Maybe we're going to top out here. We don't know yet. Global liquidity did not show a top. We're just going up. The old season's coming now will be brutal, but probably very short. So it will have an end in about 6 weeks, says Christoph. So we will see about that as well. Everyone is talking about an altcoin season. What we are seeing out of altcoins right now is not even the beginning of the altcoin season, as Bitcoin is heading higher and altcoin seasons look like this. Okay, so let's look at the altcoins here as well. There we go. Green everywhere. IMX, big fat move, 41%. Sui, 28%. Bonk, 26%. So memes are on the move, but also traditional altcoins are on the move, are recovering right now. We see across the board 10 to 13% recoveries here just today. Injective, 11%. Helium, 13%. Tia, 11%. ADA, 10%. Avi, 13%. Jasmy, 16%. Algorand, 13%. So I bet your portfolios are already looking way better than before. Chainlink also 10%. On the weekly, we have even more returns. We have 30, 65% on IMX. So whoever has bigger IMX specs feels really good, man. Feels really good right now. Let's look at IMX quickly on the trading view. We are looking at total 3 also in a second. So here we go. Wow, this is crazy. The support is holding on IMX. There we go. This is This is the support. Support is holding now. The move is going to be take out this high, and that alone would be a 240% move, right? So very, very crazy here. Let's look at the overall altcoins. Total 3. Why total 3? Because Ethereum was shitting the bed, so everyone is looking without Ethereum. But here we go. We bounced here. We bounced here, here, and here. We have 3 bounces, and this is the next trajectory. Sorry, this is the next trajectory on total 3. Of course, Christoph, I have always the total 3 locked and loaded, ready to go. So let's mark the bounces here. Yeah, here's our bounce. Here is a bounce, and then here's our third bounce for the next big leg up, which is going to bring massive altcoin returns. But it takes some time, right? So alone going back to all-time high would mean a collective 73% move of the entire altcoin market, which is amazing, right? It's amazing. And that probably is going to be only the beginning, because that would then finally mean that's the point where you have to get to even have a chance to break the previous all-time high. We usually tend to break previous all-time high. We just never had such a creep before that, right? So we never had, usually we were just firing off, but this time not. And I think it has all to do with what I said before, global liquidity and so on, just not coming out of the slump until now, right? So now is the time to put in new all-time highs for the altcoin market to go to multiple trillions, right? So we're going to see hopefully very, very soon that. But it's going to take some time, maybe 6 weeks, as you say, Christoph. Maybe it takes more. We will see. But it's going to be exciting, really exciting in my opinion. Let's see how everything performs and moves, including Ecomi, right? Someone asked before, and I hope you're still here. Someone asked before, Gflow was it? Gflow asked, PH, thanks for the stream. Do you think OMI could hit 3 to 5 cents? I mean, that's a long way, and I think that there will be two even. So first of all, we are still at massive lows, but we are recovered back to 0002. So I think the first resistance would be at, like, the first massive resistance will be here, which is a 200% move from now, or here, which is a 400% move. These are going to be big fat resistance, as many people are trying to sell at break even there. And then we have another big one where people are trying to get out at the prices that they went in 4 years ago, which is 3,300% from here. I think this is the biggest resistance that we will encounter. And then we have an all-time high at 1.3 cents roughly, which is going to be another big resistance. But there already you would be basically from these prices up 6,000% on OMI, which I believe is going to be where many people would exit at all-time high, which I think would be very difficult to then come up, right? So I think there are these three big resistances, this one, and the all-time high, basically, for Ecomi. But first of all, before we even talk about so I think 3 to 5 cents, very unlikely. Very, very unlikely. But 1 cent, maybe. And that would be enough for a really good return. But before that happens, we need bottoming signs on Ecomi, which we don't have yet. There are other altcoins that had bottoming signs. We saw before IMX and so on. But really here, it's crazy, right? Big shooting star below the wedge and so on. So maybe there is more. Maybe there's more selling, right? We don't know. We will have to wait and see for the bottoming signs. And so far, I don't see it. The volume is extremely high, but it's to the wrong side yet, right? So let's see. Let's wait for the big whale to make their moves. But it could be right now, based on the news. So let's look at the news, right? Beginning of April 28, 2025, which is in 5 days, Veve officially launches on Stacker World Marketplace. Any collectible, anytime. The world of digital collecting will never be the same. OMI fuels the future of collecting. So here's really what the officially Ecomi channel says. Digital collecting is about to level up. So they're launching officially on Stacker, unlocking the power to buy and sell Veve collectibles using OMI. So it will be the official utility on Stacker. So here it's available on YouTube as an interview here with co-CEO David Yu, and that is the announcement. So trade collectibles using OMI, enjoy seamless, secure marketplace built for Veve collectors, unlock more real-world value from your collection. So this is really good because it basically fulfills one of the promises that you will be able to buy and sell everything in with crypto, with OMI on that marketplace, right? It's very late, but it's probably soon enough or good enough for this bull run, right? So this could be, and we know that sentiment around crypto can switch and change quickly. So this is one example of that, right? And we are going to dig a little bit deeper into that. Here's the full blog article that you can read also, Stacker and Veve. And basically, here we see this part. This part is very interesting. Ready to power your collection? This is just the beginning. With Stacker, we are ushering in a new era where you control the way you collect, trade, and realize real-world value from your digital assets. From seamless marketplace access to conversion through OMI, this is the flexibility and freedom Veve collectors have been waiting for. Exactly. And I like this phrase, realize real-world value. Okay? So this is basically the invitation to invest. I know people don't like the collectors don't like it. The collectors don't like to hear about it, but this is the invitation to invest in these digital assets, right? Which is good. It's good. It's at the right time still, as our run took so much longer, right? So my collection that I have, my investment that I have in the Veve collectibles, it's a bet. It's a very risky bet with, I would estimate, only a 1 or 2% chance to outperform and even bring high returns. But if it does, it will be massive, right? It will be massive if it does. If not, it was a fun ride, but we'll be getting there, right? So there's that, and then also in those videos of David Yu, he always tries to tease stuff. So what we have as a teaser here right now is the Terminator, and then also the Planet Apes, right? So is Terminator and Planet Apes coming to Veve? We don't know, but it's always good to have new brands, to find new collecting communities, to find new users also on the pages. I saw some posts about that user numbers are actually going up for Veve on both the comic and the collectible side. Maybe we can also find that here, Veve Emutascan. Let's see. You can pull that up also for yourselves. There you go. So look at this. So we have right now 11 million collectibles on the app. Not everything has worth. A lot of this comes through the new comic side. But there's also this here, and the unique owners since February, where we had sideways moves before, is actually going up quite well, right? So we have 666K to actually it's not that much, to be honest, right? I mean, that's 150 new users within a month or so, right? That's not brutal numbers, but that's actually quite good also if you think about it. Like 150 people that came in within the course of a month or so that are buying some collectibles, and there's only new users that have bought at least one collectible, right? So if this is going down, wallets go from at least 1 to 0, right? So here, for example, we lost 12 in these dips, right? They got some, they lost some, but here really they are getting more users, right? So this could get traction as we are also seeing some signs of life in the Google search trends. I showed this to you before, that we actually had a spike to 5 in the NFTs, which is the yellow number, the NFTs. And now NFTs are back to the 3 together collectively with altcoins, but people are looking for NFTs for some reason. Okay, so this is not dead. It looks dead, but it's not, right? And crypto shows you how fast things can come back. Also Veve, right? Which is in my opinion still, if something goes right, or if something happens in the NFT space and it's not collectively dead, Veve is one of the best horses to bet on, in my opinion, to have another big fat bull run. Okay, so, but for that, as I said before, and this is basically my wrap, so 35 people here, smash up the like button. It is some time ago that we had 35 people here, but this is basically my bet, that global M2 is expanding, gold is going up, which Bitcoin tends to follow. The DXY is devaluing, very good for risk on assets, which makes all Bitcoin go up. USDT has a turnaround, so money is going to pour into the market, Bitcoin first. Bitcoin dominance is still going up. Once Bitcoin dominance has been reaching the top, then Bitcoin dominance will fall as money and take profit goes into the altcoins. Everyone wants to participate in the big fat altcoin gamble. Altcoins will explode. That's where we take profit, right? Profits are of people that became multimillionaires overnight is going to flow into prestige objects in the digital space and into prestige objects in the real world space. So people will be buying Lamborghinis, Rolexes, expensive paintings, art objects, but they will also buy NFTs like CryptoPunks and Bored Apes, but also stuff like partner statues, Miles Morales, Spider-Mans, and rare comic issues, in my opinion. This is the flow that is going to happen. It's happening over and over and over again. Some people will lose and miss it completely, and some people will make big money, and they will for sure going to buy themselves some nice prestige objects in this space. So these are the words for today. So I wish everyone a really nice day. Have a great coffee. Smash up the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Notifications on. And guys, good morning, Bernard Donaldson. But you are unfortunately at the end. You have to scroll all the way back and watch it from the beginning. Wherever you are on the world, have a great morning, evening, day, night, or afternoon. And I see you very likely tomorrow at Crypto Morning Coffee. Have a good one, everyone, and bye.